Hey, look at you. How are you? Yeah, you doing okay? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. How are you? Doing all right?
You talking to me here?
Yeah, I'm talking to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I'm doing fine. Yeah,
Okay.
you got your Valentine's
Yeah,
going
got
on. Yeah.
Valentine's going on back here. I've been
Hmm.
using that this week for my calls. Get everybody in the mood, you know.
Right. Yeah,
We need to.
I'm guilty of forgetting it, Sam. Thanks for reminding me
Oh
again.
yeah, it's next
Yeah.
Monday. Next Monday,
Hmm.
right?
14th.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll see who else joins us tonight. I'm glad
Yeah.
you
It's
joined us.
it's a
Yep.
little easier for me to join on Wednesdays versus Thursdays because I don't work on Wednesdays.
Uh huh.
So it's a little easier on me because
Okay. Well,
on work
good.
days, I'm pretty wore out time I get home. It's usually 7 or after when I get home.
Yeah, I hear you.
Hmm.
That's true for a lot of people. So yeah, we've had a lot going on. Your team, everybody's doing okay since Monday, since I was there.
I reckon so. Of course, I wasn't there today, but
Yeah,
uh,
everybody's okay
Susie's
as far as.
husband, she didn't show up Wednesday or Tuesday. Her husband was having some problems, and turned out he had some strep going on.
Oh, okay. All
So
right. Well,
her.
here comes Kate,
I'm
Dr.
looking for
Haig.
my
Hi.
microphone here.
Hi, good to see you. Here comes a phone number. All right, welcome, area code 559. Thank you for joining. Okay, very good. Good to
Uh,
see everybody. Well, let's get rolling tonight, so we can stay on time because I know your time is valuable. All right, so welcome to our mastermind call for February already, 2022. So we have several things to talk about tonight, but we want to hear from you what you want to talk about. So we'll just kind of start it off with Eric's been on a plane today. He just landed and so he's got all kinds of crazy things going on. But I'd love to hear from you what questions you have for tonight, what's going on in your world. I mean, crazy stuff is going on lots of places, but I'd love to we lost Dr. Haig for a second there. Maybe she'll be back. What questions do you have for us? Anybody got one?
oh, I just saw you Monday.
I know. That's right. So was giving benefit to the people that are on that you may not be able to see, and so let's just roll with one of the things that, and we've talked about this with your team, Dr. Sutton, is the money talk with the team. And I've been doing this lately because inflation is so high. Our personal finances are in jeopardy. And a lot of times when the personal finances of the team is in jeopardy, they come to you and want a raise. Is that true? Have you ever had that happen? You know
Not
what I'm
lately,
talking?
not lately for me.
That's good. That's good. Okay. All right, you're back.
Yeah,
Very
sorry.
good.
I forgot to plug in my computer and it died.
Oh, yeah, that can cause a problem. So we were talking about personal finances and how a lot of times for team members, when their personal finances get crazy, they come to you and ask for a raise. So having a conversation with your team at times about money and personal finances is a good thing to do. Now, it may not be that you want to do that yourself. Maybe you bring in a financial planner. I've had teams that'll bring in like a financial planner guy or the Dave Ramsey type people who will help their team do some personal finance, personal budgeting. I think that's lacking for a lot of people. They don't budget. They have no idea where their money goes. Do y'all ever see that happen? So I have a program that I do. I have a manual on money, and it has budgeting in there. I'll just flip through. Let me just show you a little bit of the PowerPoint. I've done a little bit of this with your team, Dr. David. And so we talk about our beliefs about money, and we talk about our self-talk. I love this because it relates to patients. Like, by saying I can't afford it, your brain stops working. So I think everybody needs to hang this in their reception area. But if you start asking, how can I afford it, then it puts your brain to work. So we just need to train all of our patients to never say I can't afford it. Just say, how am I going to afford that? Okay. That's a totally different question, isn't it?
Yep.
And these are some of our beliefs about money, our self-talk about money. And so I have handouts, like I said, with the personal budgeting guidelines, just like you would for your practice overhead. So if your team, money's emotional. This is a pretty powerful statement right here. Money is emotional. If your team needs support, they want to talk about personal finances. Like I said, we can have this conversation, or you can bring in someone to have that with them. But just like we talk about all the time, we purchase with emotion and justify with logic. It fits right into this whole money is emotional. Money is emotional. Do you agree with that? That money is emotional? Yeah. I definitely get that from a lot of people. And I was talking to a team recently, and I did this Tuesday, I think, with a team. And I said, how many of you have made an emotional purchase? How many of you bought something you couldn't afford? This translates right to the practice, because the team members start feeling that approval addiction of the patients can't afford this. So we'll just spread it out over 10 years, and we'll wait till the insurance covers it, and just maximize their insurance. And then I asked them, how many of you bought something you couldn't afford? Well, everybody raises their hand. So why did you do that? Because you wanted it. It's something I wanted. So when we want something, we find a way to make that happen. Is that true? That's pretty much true. So it's the same thing with your patients and your team. If they could put themselves in that spot of, if I want something bad enough, I'm going to figure it out. And it's not so much the finances we're offering, the financial options, which is important. Of course, it's important. But it's, how are we helping that patient want this treatment? Are we finding out what they want and matching what they need to what they want? Carrying that on our shoulder. So, any other comments or talking thoughts that your team's talking about money? Do they come to you for raises? How do you handle that? Do you ever have this happen, Dr. Kate?
A couple times, but I did just have a hygienist give her a resignation because another dentist texted her and said, like, how much are you making? I'll pay you more. So she's leaving. So.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That is frustrating, is it not?
Yeah. I mean, it's the landscape of the market right now.
Well, it is. It is.
I mean, it stinks in a small town.
That's the second time I've heard that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this office down the street's offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. So let me ask you a question. Have you done a compensation worksheet with her?
I did a couple years ago do it with the whole team, showing what they're, adding their 3% match, their CE, their uniforms, bonuses, but I have not done it lately because I think they forget how much that adds on. I mean, that adds a few dollars an hour to their.
It really does,
hourly wage, but they don't think about it. And then it makes me angry. And I'm like, okay, well, no benefits. Like, you guys don't care about it. Let's just no benefits. We'll raise your, I'm being, again, I'm being emotional about it. But that's
okay.
that's what it makes you feel like. But
So this is what I'm talking about, and it sounds like you get this. I just want to put this up.
yeah,
For
I have one similar, I guess not this specific and broken down.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Um, if you get it, I mean, I get all the way to the bottom line here. I did this with a doctor recently, and I think the package she was offering, it raised their compensation maybe $4 to $5 an hour
Yeah.
from their take home pay.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be a game changer if that's what's really going on. But what we know is, um, if they love where they're working, why would they be baited like that and decide to go? So one of the first things I like to ask them is, do they feel appreciated?
Right. And I did do an exit interview, and she's like, yeah, I really love, and she's like, it was just the money.
Yeah. Sometimes, Ted, I know you've dealt with this. Anything you want to pitch in here?
Well, just that I heard an office rumor through the grapevine that one of my hygienists is talking about exactly the same thing, that she feels underpaid, and she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come. She hasn't talked to me. I heard this third hand, and she's gonna come and talk to me and demand a raise, or she's gonna go somewhere else because there's quote so many places she can make more. And she's at the she's making a lot, and
Yeah.
furthermore, she's in my hierarchy in my own mind of my hygienist that I most want to keep. She's at the bottom. Uh,
Yeah.
so
That's how it goes, right?
it'll be a short conversation. I'll just say, well, don't let the door hit your butt. I mean, it really, I feel, but I think the bottom line is, and Paul and I have already talked about this. If all it is somebody chasing the next dollar, somebody's offering another dollar a day or hour or whatever, that's probably not a good employee. And I think it's the case here. And the ones that are staying and are happy are probably also just as aware that there's other people out there offering them more money, but we're not having that conversation. So,
right. Yeah, because they actually texted one of my other hygienists first, and she was like, no, like,
yeah,
I like where I work. I like the environment. I've temped at your office. I don't like it.
Whoa.
So, I mean, that makes you feel better, but then it's like, well, so I don't know. It is hard.
well, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in this environment right now, there's a lot of this going on. I mean, you think about it. Just what I said a minute ago. You've got inflation, 7 to 12%, depending on who you ask, and team members with no budget, no finance plan, no financial plan for their life, and they see their expenses going, and they get offered higher pay. Well, that's just going to pacify their spending, and without a plan. And it's just what's happened since COVID. The buzz in these chat groups and all these team groups and things like that is, you can make more money and they egg each other on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they do. They get on those chats and everybody goes on, and then there's that one person getting paid $55 an hour from some DSO somewhere.
Yeah.
And I just linked in the chat. Yeah, it's kind of a cool survey it goes through, and looking at that, I'm on, because then I get to thinking, like, am I underpaying? Like, I don't want to be underpaying, be the dentist that's underpaying their staff, but this just came out, and I looked at it, and I'm right in the national average. So
Yeah, I saw this survey. I clicked on the link here so I can share the screen. I saw some of the results of this survey. This is from dentalpost.net, and they were talking about how team salaries, team compensation overall across the country has increased. Um, so yeah, it's a really crazy tough time right now for the doctors, with this kind of thing going on. I'm just really sorry that it's happened, especially with hygiene. Um, I was gonna see what I had. There was dentist stats for income. Okay, yeah, here we go. Here's kind of the bottom line summary of that study you just showed me. This came from January 13th. It says overall wages in the dental industry have increased. However, with the increase in wages lurks the threat of turnover, which is what we're seeing. Even with the pandemic going in its second year, the dental industry as a whole has fared well in terms of wages. Overall wages across the dental industry role have increased in the past 2 years. The number of clinical workers planning to apply for new jobs has decreased. So that's good news. So much has changed. Income satisfaction for dentists and hygienists. Among dentists who responded to the survey, more than half reported being satisfied or very satisfied with their income. 1 in 5 dentists received a pay increase in the past year. And then we've got, in terms of salaries for dentists, the 6 highest paid locations, 349 to 409, Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico. 29% of dentists reported income dissatisfaction. Among those were Arkansas, lowest compensation. Dental hygienists, the report showed rising wages and increased income satisfaction as well compared with the previous year's survey. Income satisfaction among hygienists rose 30%. The report showed that in 2021, 43% of dental hygienists earned more. That's a huge increase. More than 70,000, which is up from 34% in 2020. The number of hygienists who make more than 80,000. Ted, I think I shared this with you the other day.
Yeah, yes, you did.
Rose from 15% to 21%. Crazy. Look at that. 80 grand. Among hygienists who reported dissatisfaction, it was their income was lower than 64,000. So you don't have to share where you fall in the group, but so here's less stability for non-clinical staff. Look at this. They're forecasting, this is dentalpost.net, forecasting a troubling development in higher turnover rates for administrative team. Many people in these positions could move outside the industry to find higher paying positions that they have skills that are generalizable to other industries. The highest risk is going to be in the front, admin workers. The survey indicates turnover could be as high as 30%. Oh boy, don't you just love that? I hope they're wrong. Other notable highlights include the next 2 years, 11% of dentists plan to retire. In the next year, 29% of associates intend to apply for a new job. Oh yeah, I see that all the time. Within the next year, 27% of dental assistants plan to look. In the past year, 39% of front office members applied for a new job. I don't know. I see more turnover with the hygienists than anything. I mean, yes, some admin, but hygiene has been the biggest challenge for my clients. I don't know. 13,000 dental professionals were surveyed by Dental Post, including dentists, hygienists, blah, 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 blah. So that's what their survey says. It doesn't mean it's that way for everybody, but yeah, it's definitely something challenging, and having to keep the appreciation going in the midst of all that tension. It's not easy, right? So, do you have any ideas of what you're going to do for like hiring?
yeah, there was a fairly young hygienist who lives in my town, but she has been commuting for the last 2 years, an hour and a half away, because there was no openings in our town. So I contacted her, brought her in. She's kind of the only one available, but she seems nice. She
Yeah.
needs some training, but so I went ahead and hired her. She's starting in a week or so. So
Oh, good. Now comes the okay. She goes and gives her notice, and they try to keep her.
right.
Right. So this is the dance we play. that so she's accepted and all that, but in the meantime, I would be courting her. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You probably know that already. So I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to everybody. But
Yeah.
because this is what I'm seeing is they'll even start and work for a couple of weeks and oh, my old office called me back and they offered me this much more, and they get into the office and decide, oh my, this is more change than I was expecting, or things like that. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, but I just want to be you to be prepared. The flip side of that is, and you may not want this hygienist back, the one that's leaving, but in 2 to 4 weeks, she could be feeling the same way, like, oh my gosh, what have I done? The money is good, but I want to go back.
Yeah,
And
I'm kind of scared for her that's what's going to happen, because I know the dentist, I know the team. They aren't really nice, but whatever.
yeah, so she could be coming back begging. The money isn't everything. Money, the team harmony, the team environment, the amount of change that they're going to have, all that. There's a lot of factors that go into this. So, if you want this person back, would you want them back if they asked you back?
Maybe. I mean, she's nice. She's a good hygienist. She knows our things, but like at the same time, like I said, like my feelings are kind of hurt, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, like
I mean, where's
I've
the
done a
loyalty?
lot for you. I try really hard about team things, and yeah.
So, what would y'all do, Ted, Dr. Sutton?
Well, it reminds me of a situation quite a few years ago where I had a very good assistant who was offered a big increase in salary, and she took it. And on her exit interview, I talked to her,
Yeah.
and I the whole situation it's a long story, but it just felt bad, and I felt betrayed, and she left, and a few years later she applied again, and I I talked to her a little bit, and I said, well, you left for more money, you wouldn't be getting that here. And she said, yeah, but I didn't like working there. And I said, well, I feel like you were disloyal, and we didn't hire her.
Yeah.
And then, and I can't remember, it's 2 or 3 times, but she applied again, maybe a third time. And finally, and each time she'd say, gee, yeah, I'm sorry, I really want to come back. It was only about the money. And so finally we had a short list of candidates, and I said, well, let's talk to Mandy again. So to talk to Mandy, and I just put it right in front of her. I said, we didn't hire you those other times because of your disloyalty. And she said, well, it wasn't really disloyalty. I needed the money. And so I hired her again.
Yeah.
She's been back with me now for 15 years, and she's a phenomenal employee. And she's our best presenter of treatment. She gets the highest rate of treatment acceptance of anyone in the office. So the lesson to her was, the office that offers more money, there's usually a reason why they have to offer more money to attract employees.
There you go.
That's the bottom line. And she learned it very well.
Mhm.
And she, I think, has talked to other people. She's very loyal to the practice. So anyway, that, I don't know if that helps at all, but I
Yeah.
think one of the things that I say to somebody who may be leaving for money and I want to keep them is, what I just said. You know, there's
Yeah.
a reason why an office like that has, and we had a more recent occurrence of the exact same thing. Somebody got hired away for a whole lot more money and lasted 2 days and came back, and we took her back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, for some people, they just really don't know what they're missing. You
yeah,
know, they don't know what else is out there. And once they get there, sometimes they're like, oh, wow, what a mistake I've made.
yeah. One other thing I'll say though is,
Hmm.
in terms of the rest of the team, you know, everybody kind of like, well, you know, they feel like, well, I'm here loyal all this time, and that person left, and so we said when she came back, you know, you lost your seniority in the process. You know, even in 2 days,
There you go. Yeah.
there is a consequence, but
Mhm.
and now she's a phenomenal assistant, and she's back. So
Oh, that's yeah, and I agree with that. Mandy is amazing. So I think yeah, there is opportunity to take someone back, but yet at the same time, it's like starting over. You know, you have to
yeah,
reassess where you are with that person and have a conversation. I think having a conversation about how you feel is important. You know, so anything can happen. Keep us posted.
yeah.
But I'm glad you've already found somebody. That is like incredible with
Yeah,
the
it's very lucky. And
scared.
she's coming to me for less money because she
Oh,
was getting paid a lot at that because they wanted her because she was driving, and but I think it was because she was driving an hour and a half. They were trying to make it worth it for her.
I gotcha.
And I was just like, listen, like you're not trained in this, you're not trained in this, you're not trained, you know, like if you get that training, we can sure talk about that. But
Good point.
until
Yeah.
then, this is what I'm offering. And she took it.
Good for you. Good for you. Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's a blessing that you found somebody already and opportunity there. Okay, good deal. Any other questions that you have for the group? We can go on to the
Um,
yeah.
um, I have an interesting situation with my son that has 6 kids, and I've done $140,000 worth of dentistry on them. They haven't paid me a dime. What do people do about family members? And
Family members.
yeah,
Oh wow.
this is the problem: is they drink Mountain Dew like it's water, and they come in, their teeth are rotting faster than I can fill them.
Wow. That's a tough situation.
How old? How old is the Mountain Dew drinker?
How old?
Oh, and Sunny Delight, of course.
Of course. How old is this grandson or whoever?
The grandkids run from 8 to 20, and mom and dad have just as bad rotting teeth. And I just did 9 fillings on my 16-year-old grandson, and they can't find the end of the decay as you go circumferentially around the tooth.
Mm.
Wow.
I love you shaking.
Okay, so what would you guys do? What would you do with this family member? I got to set a boundary if it were me.
Yeah.
You know,
What?
I would set a boundary. Okay. Do you know what
I
I mean?
would, of course, I, this isn't my family, so it's easy to say, but I think I would say I'd be happy to do all the preventive as before for free. But, you know, if there's new decay happening because of lifestyle or choices, that's on you.
Right.
Yeah, or just say like, you know, I've been happy to be your dentist, but I feel like I'm not being able to, you know, keep up with it, and it's, you know, really, you know, disheartening and, you know, affecting my relationship with you, and I don't want that. I don't think I should be your dentist because it's affecting, you know, how I feel, and I don't want it to affect our relationship and feel upset about that they have so many cavities or taking advantage or however you want to word it. But I think if you put that it's like putting a strain on how you feel in your relationship with them, and that I would think they'd understand. They might be a little upset, but it is what it is. You have to, I mean, that's a lot of work. And that, I mean, even with regular patients, it's disheartening when they keep coming back with recurrent decay over and over. But I can't imagine your grandkids, like, that's hard.
Are you getting my chats?
Yes,
Okay, I'm trying to type it out for you.
thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. Even with regular patients, when we see this happen, I mean, you have to set a boundary, right?
Thank you.
I would. Man. I don't think I could deal with that. I think I would have the kids pay something, like $5. we used to treat homeless or I don't know what, compromised youth, I guess you could say. And my doctor would have them pay, I'm typing this out for you, at least, $5 instead of treating them for free. So, there you go. All right. That was a great question. That's a tough spot. I'm sorry you're having that happen. Yeah. Okay. Another question I had on here, personnel manual. When's the last time you've updated? I know y'all are Dr. Sutton, y'all are in the process of updating your manual, right?
Yes.
And you're using Cedar.
In fact, it's been pretty much updated now.
Oh, good.
And been a great help for our current situation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to talk about that at all? I mean, this is being recorded, but.
Probably best not to, other than it's just a unique situation where the affected parties may end up having a mental breakdown. It may be a medical leave absence disability, or who knows what's going to happen from this. But anyway, this particular person is due to give us, either come back to the office the 14th, which is this coming Monday, or give us a doctor's excuse for a contingency and medical leave of absences. But we're expecting her to come back, if she does work, at 100%, and leave her personal issues behind the door when she shuts it and comes in the office. If not, then she can always apply for a future employment in our office when she's mentally capable of coming back. But hopefully everything will go good, and she'll come back Monday, and things will be great. But we'll see.
It is super challenging right now, and I'm saying right now, but really over the last 12 years or so, the employers have lost rights and the employees have gained a lot of rights. And it used to be you could write your own manual, you could put in there pretty much anything you wanted to within reason. And now, man, it's a legal document. You've got to get support. You can't just write it. It's got to be worded so carefully. And I'm seeing these situations where normally we would just let people go, and they're in a protected category. So
and the problem is, you can't predict or foresee all the problems that are going to happen with the employees.
No, you can't.
There's just unique things out there, and you really need help from a professional on the employee side. And I'm sure each state's different in how you need to handle the situations.
I mean, Maine has just passed some crazy rules for employers, even no matter how many employees, right, Ted?
Yeah,
Like paid time off.
yeah. That
When has
was
that ever been a requirement?
well, it took us so long to untangle that, so that I was determined that we already had enough paid time off for everybody. Nobody was suffering. Nobody needed something different or more. The thing was that the paid time off law says that the employee can use paid time off for anything they want whenever they want. It does allow you to require a notice. And so we went with the longest notice possible. And we rolled we had a well pay system. And the paid time off means really sick pay because they can use it for illness. And so we just had to we went through a long process trying to figure it out. I can't even remember now what all the details are that we settled on, but in the final analysis, it was a lot of words on paper, but it's not costing us extra money.
Yeah.
And we retained the well pay because we can still say, if you're not sick, we can give you a bonus. It's not, it's not prohibited to give somebody a bonus for not being sick. It's prohibited to not pay them if they're sick. So anyway.
Yeah, it's been a crazy situation for you guys up there, and a lot of laws have changed since COVID. Different states have been implementing some different things. One of the things that I have not seen a whole lot in personnel manuals is CE agreements. When a team member leaves the practice to go to a course away from the office, and maybe the doctor doesn't go, or even if the doctor does go. So do y'all have agreements, like behavior agreements for that?
I have like a code of conduct or like culture type agreement, but like I know Cedar, they have it like the CE thing spelled out very
Yes,
clearly.
they do.
Like rules that I didn't even know existed, which
Yeah.
I was glad they told me about, but it's confusing. But
Like alcohol policy, and make
yeah,
sure they go to all the meetings. I mean, you're paying for
right.
this.
Yeah.
Make sure they go to the meetings, they're on time, they take notes. I mean, sometimes when we have a course, we'll send out like a notice to the doctors if they're not going to be in the meeting, to let their team know this is the expectation of what we want for you. And I think another mistake that doctors make, I see happen a lot, not just doctors, but just teams make. They'll have somebody go to CE, or they'll do one of our Zoom camps, or they'll watch videos, and they never talk about it. I'm like, when you send a team member to CE of any kind, if it's online, like some things we do, when they come back from that, they need to have notes that they've taken and presented action items, and even make a presentation to the whole team if you feel like that's appropriate. So that really maximizes what you just invested in for them into training. Or are they sitting there not really paying attention? And I know one thing Eric and I do is we'll stop often in the program, some of you that have been on the ones we do, and we'll say, okay, what did you just get from that section? What are your aha moments? And sometimes, depending on the group, we'll go around and ask individually, share with us what you got. So that's important. Another thing that just came up that I was reading about is gift cards. Have you guys heard about gift cards? Anybody using gift cards for bonus or anything like that?
I am occasionally, and then I heard that you're supposed to like tax it.
Bummer.
Yeah.
I have one doctor. He bought gift cards for his team, and I forget exactly where he was getting them and what he was doing, but he said, "Okay, I'm gonna give these to you, and I'm counting this as a marketing expense because every time you go out and use this gift card, I want you to talk about the office." So that was his way around. But I guess if it's a regular thing, you got to put it through your payroll, right? And they won't like that, but oh well. Anything else unique that you're including in your personnel manual that there are people who watch this
For sick
afterward?
pay, I hate the idea of paying somebody to be sick.
Oh yeah,
I think that is ridiculous. So I have well pay.
yeah,
Every month that they don't come in sick, they get 2 extra hours of pay. Every quarter, every 4 months, they get a full day's pay. So I'm required by law to give them 3 for being sick, but I also pay them all these extra hours for being well. And they look forward to that, believe me.
yeah,
So they will drag their carcasses in so they don't miss that.
yeah,
So
exactly.
if they're really sick or a family member is really sick, then we know they're really out there because they have to. Otherwise, they come in.
That's exactly right. I know. Now, and you're in California, so California has crazy, insane laws, right? Um, definitely that. So it's challenging when you've got the government doing these type of things to keep your team engaged and your culture healthy because they have expectations. One of the things that I see happen a lot, I mean this just happened a few days ago, is you've got small dental practices and a team member gets pregnant and they think they qualify for Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA. They think they qualify for that. And most dental practices, you do not qualify for FMLA. So they go online and read maternity benefits everywhere, and they come back to you and say, "Well, I'm taking 3 months off, and I should get paid for all of that." And I'm like, "Nope, you're not under FMLA. Sorry." And their husbands are like, "Well, that's what I get at my job." And they go online and search, and they find this, and they think, "Yeah, I'm entitled to that." No. And another reason to have that very, very clear in your manual. And you cannot discriminate. You can't well, this is a valuable employee that I've had forever, and yeah, I'm going to give her the 3 months off. And you don't give that to the next employee. You can't do that. Unfortunately, you can't. It has to be all same across the board, right? Y'all know this. So it's very good to have it decided on the front end. All right. Who's having COVID cancellations or team members out sick because of COVID? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. I'm having team members get it. I mean, this is their second time. I don't think I know of anybody that's been sick 3 times. But yeah, twice. Bummer. So there's no COVID pay now. I've been getting that question a lot. Y'all know that, right? So if your team's out sick, they're on their own. We're back to the real world, right? And cancellations for your patients. You're getting a lot of those. Man, I'm getting trackers back now for January, and cancellations are like through the roof on the doctor's side. Yes, Dr. Nestle? Same for you? Yeah.
We lost a patient today because she was exposed. Not because she was sick. She was exposed and they sent her home. So
There's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of COVID fear. And, that it's really hard to overcome. It's really, really hard to overcome. So what are you guys doing? How are you handling it? Ted?
Well, I was just going to say, just this evening, and I'm only halfway through it, I came across a new over an hour presentation by Dr. Scott Atlas. Does everybody know who that is?
No?
He was on the original COVID task force. He's got degrees and qualifications out the wazoo for epidemiology and everything else. His discussion is only facts and only data from peer-reviewed studies, and it's very current, and it's everybody should listen to it. It's it's all things that you've already heard, but then this is now documented that the shutdowns did nothing except hurt a lot of people. For instance, when we shut down, 30 million people in Bangladesh lost their job because their economy is based on making clothes for us.
Wow.
It's just there's example after example. It's must hear information. It's amazing.
Now,
it's kind of boring.
Tell me the name again. I want to look it up.
It's on YouTube, Scott Atlas, and it's Hillsdale College sponsored it.
Oh, I did hear something about it. Yeah. Okay. So I think I found what you're talking about. So I just want to pull this up for people to see.
The thing is, it's just so factual, data-driven, non-opinionated. There it is.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a write-up of it, I guess.
I've been to Hillsdale's College. I didn't attend there, but I actually visited a client there, and they have rooms for speakers at Hillsdale, and I actually stayed there as that was where I stayed, in that town. So yeah, it's a pretty neat place. Yeah. So except that was the Washington D.C. campus. Okay, I went to actual Hillsdale, Michigan.
In Michigan, isn't it?
Yeah, Michigan. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's where I went.
Yeah.
So yeah, here he is. Very good. So what was his conclusion? Ted, tell us again.
His conclusion is everything we tried to do didn't work. is one of it. The vaccine does prevent serious illness and reduces risk of death. So he's not an anti-vax guy.
Yeah.
However, the only immunity that's really worth anything is natural immunity. So go out and get Omicron, have a couple of days of being sick and be immune, because your vaccine immunity will wear off in a couple of months. And unless you want to get a booster every single month, he literally said this, it's not going to do much for you. Yeah. So, how we translate that into the real world today, I don't know. It just leads to frustration, but it's still, this is what the real facts of the situation are. And I've heard other guys, other speakers similar. Mm-hmm. But this was maybe it's because it's so current. And there's a lot of new information, new studies to back up what we've thought before.
Yeah. For sure. It is definitely a confusing situation, and there's more and more and more and more stuff coming out right now, and it's a hotbed. Yeah. So anybody else have any thoughts you'd like to share about COVID and how you're handling things? Okay. Let's talk about Dental Freedom Academy for a second. Ted, we had a great time on our call. I'm going to pull up just the email that we send out for everybody right here. Dental Freedom Academy. Share with us a little bit about what this is, Ted. You're involved.
Well, one of the things that get really wound up about is COVID, like I just did.
Yeah.
And the other one that I get really wound up about is, how insurance companies dental insurance companies have gotten away with ripping off dentists for years. And dentist letting him do it, and letting him make more and more restrictive rules and pay less and less and say bad things to your patients to tell them you're a bad dentist if you're not a member and all that kind of stuff. So Dental Freedom Academy is really uh, just a systematic approach to getting out of those bad PPO contracts. In my mind, they're all bad, but some are worse. And doing it in a way that your practice will thrive and not be like cutting off your arm. And it takes a lot of training and verbal skills, and team on board. Team needs to understand it, and it requires something else dear to my heart, which is a membership plan as an indisposable tool to go along with it, and coaching from guess who.
Yeah. Right. Right.
That's probably the heart of it, is the coaching part. So.
Well, this is a difficult thing, and what we see all the time, and I've had calls just in the last 2 weeks of, well, I just resigned from so and so and so and so insurance, and now what do I do? We don't have a plan. We haven't talked to our team about how they feel about it. We just got upset. And I mean, I understand that you're upset. I mean, there's a couple of states right now that are getting letters from certain companies that are lowering their fees. And it's not just one insurance company. There's 3 that I've heard of, I think. So, we got inflation going up and the insurance fees going down. So they get frustrated and they just say, okay, I'm done. And they start sending out letters to patients, or they resign and they have 3 months from the insurance company. The insurance company sends a letter to their patient, and they haven't had a conversation with their patient. And so it's just a disaster waiting to happen. So there are some parameters that we have to look at to make sure and that we're doing this right, to minimize the loss of patients in your practice. And one of those things is having a membership plan, which gives them an alternative, and attracting uninsured patients to your practice. And we talked about this last Friday. So if they want the video from that, they can contact Meg, right?
Yes.
And get that video, which she's Meg at denvantage.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I think I got that email right. Or go to denvantage.com website, or message me. We'll get it to you.
Or you can call her directly. The number's on the website. I don't have it memorized.
Yeah, denvantage.com. Okay. So one of the things that we talked about last week was looking at the percentage of uninsured patients you have in your practice. And the average practice in the nation has 75% or so insured patients. Okay? So if you have that many insured patients in your practice, in my opinion, your practice is at risk.
It's interesting that just occurred to me about that. 75% average insured patients in a dental practice, but there's only 50% of the population that's insured.
Preach it.
So the other 50% is grossly underserved. And so people, I've heard people lots of times say, well, there aren't any patients in my area, in my town, that aren't insured. And I go, well, you mean there's no lawyer practicing solo, or somebody that owns a popcorn stand or a donut shop? They're all over. So anyway, it's a great opportunity.
Marketing to the uninsured patient is huge. They even think they can't go to the dentist because they don't have insurance, or they're procrastinating. Huh?
They think that you won't accept them without insurance, because like a medical office, almost won't accept you without insurance. Some
I mean,
don't.
one of the first thing they ask you is what's your birth date if you're an existing patient. But if you're a new patient calling a medical office, the first thing they're going to ask you is what's your insurance. Well,
Yeah.
they think dentistry is the same way,
Yeah.
so we have to teach them that's not so. But yeah, the premiums that for the insured patients are built-in profit for the insurance company because the premiums are $50 to $70 a month, and what do you get back for 2 prophies a year is about half of that what the insurance company's paying out. So about 50% of the patient's premium is going to the insurance company as profit. And they're hoping you don't even use your plan so that 100% of it will go to them as
Yeah.
profit.
And I've heard numbers as high as 40% of people with insurance don't use it. If
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
employer provided, yeah.
Yeah. It's so really, I believe it's a myth that people don't go to the dentist because they don't have insurance. In fact, I saw a survey that it said people don't go to the dentist because they don't think they need to, not because they don't have insurance. So they just have no idea why they should go to the dentist unless they're in pain. They don't understand about prevention. So, Dr. Sutton, anything you want to share here? I mean, you guys have been doing this.
Yes,
Dropping. Yeah.
we have. Ours is in-house where uh, we get significant increase, seems like every month with new people signing up.
Yeah.
And we're having people sign up who don't have insurance, and we're having people sign up that do have insurance. And the nice thing about the people who do have insurance is we let all the insurance benefits that are due to them be sent to them by the insurance company. So if they're coming and get their teeth cleaned on
Yeah.
our program, they get their teeth cleaned at no charge. They go home and then they'll get a insurance check paid to them to get their teeth cleaned. And a lot of times they may call back, or I don't know if a lot of times, but sometimes they call back and say, they didn't pay much for this procedure. I say, yes.
That's exactly.
You need to understand that the insurance is in this for their own profit.
Yeah. That's right.
It's kind of an eye-awakening thing sometimes for them to
It
realize
is.
that the insurance is really the bad guy.
That's exactly
I
right.
think that helps some when they get their reimbursement for, say, an onlay, and they may get $100 back.
Yeah. Yeah, that just tells you what kind of. I love that question. I know we got to wrap this up, but I love that question. On a scale of 1 to 10, what type of treatment do you want in our office? With 10 being the best. What are most patients going to say?
They're going to say 10.
Of course. Then on that same scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your insurance plan and their ability and their willingness to pay for your 10 care? Your number 10 care. Most of them are going to come with a low number, 2, 3, something like that. There's some who don't understand. But then you can say, obviously what your insurance company is willing to pay for and the type of treatment you want, there's a gap. How do you suggest we bridge that gap? And so that opens a conversation. So I like that 1 to 10. Sometimes that works for people, an eye opener. So, well, this was fun. This was a great conversation. Lots of topics discovered here tonight, and I appreciate your questions. I will let you know about our next program, which is for doctors and or office managers, which will be another Zoom camp that we're going to be having 2 Fridays, March 25th, April 22nd. And we have kind of a different roundup this time. Dr. Watson's going to be talking to us about marketing and microscopes. He has some cool ideas on some marketing things he's done. We've got Art Wiederman joining us. He's a CPA. He's going to talk about tax planning and financial arrangements. We've got Dr. Slava and IHOB, her husband, who are going to talk to us about scanners. We've got Jennifer Manrique, who's going to be talking to us about closing large cases. Stephen Johnson is going to be joining us about patient financing. We'll do breakout sessions. So we've got some really different topics and different speakers joining us this time. So I'm looking forward to that. If you or your office manager or both of you would like to join, let us know. Eric and I will be leading that. And there is CE Credit sponsored by IPSO, Dr. Ted Johnson, who we very much appreciate. I hope you'll visit ipsoseminars.com and check out their occlusion programs, which have dramatic results. I've seen some of their case studies, and it's really, really amazing. So, all right. Any other comments, questions before we go? No. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, and I hope you picked up some good ideas, and maybe you can share them with somebody else. Okay? Thanks, y'all. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's
Thank
Day.
you.
Bye.